Hello children, in this session we will be learning about the concept of the hardware. So basically computer hardware, it comprises of the physical components that the computer system requires to function. Like you have the hardware parts which you can touch, see and feel them. It will cover everything right from your circuit board to the personal computer itself, the laptop, including your motherboard, the graphics card, the CPU, the ventilation fans, the webcam, the power supply and so on. So this hardware is the physical parts which are visible to our eyes. Next, the software is the set of instructions which are given to the computer to execute a certain task. Now, a small code that is written to perform a small task is called as a program. Now, this program will execute only a small function, while a collection or a set of programs are called as a software. So this helps us to interact with the computer in order to perform a particular task. And software is a generic term which is used to describe the programs. Now to differentiate between a program and a software, I'll tell you one example. Suppose I have asked the student to write a code to perform a single mathematical operation like the addition of two numbers. So this code written to execute this type of operation is called as a program. Now if there are 4 students and each one of them they have written a function to calculate the addition of two numbers, the subtraction of two numbers, the multiplication of two numbers and division of two numbers. This is the division sign in your computer system. You do not have to give a symbol of this division. Instead, you have to give a slash. So if there are 4 students who have written the code for all the 4 operations, and together if we combine and make a single code, then it will work as good as a calculator. So now this calculator, it has become a software, right? So if you are writing a function for executing a small task, then it is called as a program, but a collection of all those codes or programs is called as software. The next is the categories of the software. So software can be classified into 2 categories, which is your open source software and the second is the closed source software. So what do we mean by open source software? As the name indicates, open means it is open for all. So what happens is there are many developers in the world who want their codes to be distributed freely to the public for their use. So it is basically they want to benefit the community. So this type of software, it releases the code in the public domain for everyone to use. And now this source code can be copied, modified and distributed to the other users and organizations. So once it is free, you can download it, you can modify it, you can replicate it and use it as the way you want. There is absolutely no restriction. And what is the result of this then? Suppose a code for that calculator was given for public use. So there will be other developers who can improve that software. Initially, suppose we had made a code for the use of a simple calculator which could perform only 4 operations. Then maybe some other developer improved the code and added more advanced functions like calculation of sine, cos, tan. So that improvement will always be there if it is given for free use to the users. And as a result of this, the software constantly improves and it expands as more and more people work on its improvement. So this policy is called as the free open source software policy, and it has enabled some people to save millions of rupees. Like, you don't have to pay a cost for that software, so it is free for use. So this will help you to save the cost. And if you are buying a similar type of software, then obviously you have to pay a heavy price for it. So this helps in reducing your cost as well. The example that can be considered is the state of the Kerala, where they have adopted this FOSS policy, which means that every software that the Kerala state will be using will be open source software, which means they will never purchase a software. They will always use softwares which are free for use. Now in this manner they have saved almost 300 crores of rupees, which could have been paid as a license fee on proprietary or closed source software. The softwares which could have been purchased, they have used the open source softwares, and in return they have saved almost 300 crore rupees. The second type is the closed source software. It is just the opposite to the open source software, which means that the software will be used by the proprietary and it is a closely guarded code. Whereas in the open source software, the code was free for use. It could be modified, but in case of closed source software, the code will not be visible to the user, it will not be visible to the developer, and they will not be able to make any changes to the code. And it is closely guarded. They have sealed the code. They will not be able to even have a look at it. And who can modify? Only the original authors who have actually developed the code can have access, copy and alter that software. None other than the authors can modify it. Now in case of closed source software, one has to purchase the software before using it. For example, if you want to have one system for your school, then obviously you will have to purchase it, you will have to pay a price for it. But in case of open source software, there will be some softwares which will just be free for use and you can simply download it from the internet and use it. So this is the difference between the open source software and the closed source software. Next is the classification of the software. So software can also be classified based on the use or the utility or the application. So you can say one is the system software and the second is the application software. So what do you mean by system software? System software is the set of instructions which are required for a computer to work. In case you have bought a new computer or a laptop, just merely having a hardware machine or a device is not going to start your computer, right? So you need to have some inbuilt applications or programs which will start your computer and it will give the instructions to the computer to boot. So these instructions or this software which is going to make your computer work is the system software. So this For example, if you are typing something into your keyboard, the instructions or the data is going to be converted into a form which will be recognized by the CPU. So this set of programs, they all come under system software. This system software makes your computer work. For example, you have got the Linux operating system. So operating system is a software which is going to make your system work. It is a program which will allow different applications and various components of hardware such as monitor, printer, mouse, keyboard to communicate with each other. So this communication programs are nothing but the system software programs. Then the next is your application software. So application software is a program or a group of programs designed for the end users. These type of application, as the name itself indicates, application means for a particular use. So if you want to have a software which will perform a specific task or a specific application, then these type of software are called as the application softwares. Like you have a program or a software which is going to perform only your school related functions, like it will accept the data for your marks, it will print your result. So that is your school software. So that will come under the application software. Apart from that, you must have learned about MS Office, which includes a PowerPoint, Excel, Word. So all these type of softwares, they all come under application software. Also you have your web browsers, the presentation software, spreadsheets, etc, etc. Even the calculator which we were talking about comes under the application software. Why? Because it is going to perform a specific task of addition, subtraction, multiplication and division. Maybe you will have advanced sine, cos, tan also. So all these functions or this type of software will be included under application type of software. This is all for this session. Thank you.